Your brain can't tell the difference between what you vividly imagine and what actually happens. Earl Nightingale proved this with The Strangest Secret in 1956, selling over 1 million records without a single advertisement. But there's a deeper layer almost nobody talks about. In 1944, Neville Goddard wrote a book called Feeling is the Secret, and modern neuroscience is only now catching up. The idea isn't dangerous because it doesn't work. It's dangerous because it works so well that most people misuse it without knowing. What Earl Nightingale missed. Earl Nightingale released The Strangest Secret in 1956, and it became the first spoken-word recording in history to earn a gold record, selling over 1 million copies without a single advertisement. His message was dead simple: you become what you think about. For millions of people, that one line was enough to spark real change. But here's the gap that almost everyone misses. Thinking is a conscious activity, while feeling lives in the subconscious.
The subconscious is the part of your mind that actually runs your daily behavior, your habits, and your automatic reactions when you aren't paying attention.
Plenty of people walked away from Nightingale's message believing that if they just thought about success hard enough, it would show up in their lives. They made vision boards, repeated affirmations, and tried to stay positive, but their feelings stayed the same underneath. That's only half the machinery. If you've ever tried positive thinking and felt like you were lying to yourself, you already know exactly what this gap feels like. In 1944, 12 years before that record hit the shelves, a man named Neville Goddard wrote a book called Feeling is the Secret. He wasn't a psychologist, and he wasn't a scientist. He was a mystic who stumbled onto a mechanism that modern brain researchers are only now beginning to map. He claimed that the part of your mind controlling your future doesn't respond to thoughts at all. It responds to feeling. Goddard's actual discovery is the piece that completes the entire picture. The mechanism. Feeling is the secret. Goddard's book wasn't called Thinking is the Secret. The title was Feeling is the Secret, and that distinction changes everything. He taught what he called the law of assumption. You don't attract what you want, and you don't attract what you think about. You become what you feel as already true. That sounds like a small difference, but it's the entire difference between hoping and actually shifting your internal state. Think about it this way. Visualization is just a picture in your head. You see the steering wheel of the new car, or the numbers in your bank account, or the view from the apartment you want. But feeling is the full sensory and emotional experience of the wish already fulfilled. It's sitting in that driver's seat and smelling the interior and feeling the relief of already owning it. It's not wanting the money, it's feeling the security of already having it. It's not daydreaming about the relationship, it's feeling the warmth of already being loved.
Plenty of people stop at the picture. Goddard said that's like ordering food and only looking at the menu. This is why positive thinking alone fails so many people. They stand in front of the mirror and say affirmations out loud, but underneath they still feel doubt, fear, or lack. The subconscious doesn't hear your words, it hears your feelings. If your feeling contradicts your thought, the feeling wins every single time. Goddard developed a specific technique to bypass this problem. He called it SATS, which stands for state akin to sleep. It's the drowsy moment right before you fall asleep or right after you first wake up, when your conscious mind is quiet and your subconscious is most open to impression. The reason this timing matters is simple. Your conscious mind is the critic. It doubts, it argues, it demands proof, and it loves to say that what you want isn't realistic. Your subconscious is the record. It accepts what is played to it. You can't impress a record while the critic is still talking. There's a reason this idea is called dangerous, and it's not what you think. The danger, why feeling can backfire.
The dangerous part isn't that it works, it's that it works in both directions. Most people don't realize they're already using Goddard's mechanism every single day. They're just using it against themselves. Worry is felt imagination with a negative outcome. Anxiety is assuming the feeling of a disaster already fulfilled. Depression is living in the felt end of a story you never wanted to experience. This is why someone can spend months on a vision board and still panic in the interview. Their mouth says they want the job, but their nervous system is rehearsing rejection. The moment you recall your problems, you feel them as real. Your brain processes that feeling the same way it processes reality, because to the subconscious, there's no difference between a vividly felt memory and a vividly felt imagination. This is exactly why positive thinking fails for so many people. They say all the right words out loud, but underneath they're feeling dread, doubt, or fear. When your feelings contradict your thoughts, the feelings win every single time. Goddard understood this back in 1944. Modern therapists see it in their offices every single day. Cognitive reframing fails when the emotional body hasn't shifted. You can tell yourself that the interview will go well, but if your body is flooded with the feeling of rejection, the body wins. You can visualize the check coming in, but if your gut is clenched with the feeling of poverty, the clenched gut is what gets recorded. That feeling becomes your baseline. That's the real danger. You're already a master at this technique. You've just been practicing the wrong version for years. The brain treats imagination this way for a reason that scientists only mapped recently. The science, your brain's reality threshold. In 2025, researchers at University College London published a study in the journal Neuron that mapped exactly how the brain separates real experiences from imagined ones. They found something that sounds like science fiction, but is hard neuroscience. Seeing and imagining use almost identical brain machinery. The brain doesn't have separate hard drives for imagination and reality. It runs one shared system, plus a checkpoint that researchers now call the reality threshold. When a mental image crosses that threshold, the brain tags it as real. When it falls short, the brain tags it as imagined.
Here's why this matters for Goddard's method. When you vividly feel something, especially in a relaxed or drowsy state, that checkpoint gets quieter. The signal looks more like reality to the rest of your brain. The conscious critic is offline, and the subconscious record is listening. This isn't mysticism. Mental rehearsal works for athletes. Visualization helps surgeons prepare for complex procedures. Placebo effects are real and measurable. The brain changes its chemistry, its neural pathways, and its behavior based on imagined experiences that are felt deeply enough. Your internal state becomes your external behavior. Behavior creates results. Results reinforce the state. That's the bridge between Goddard's spiritual language and modern psychology. The feeling isn't magic. It's a neurological event that rewires your expectations, and your expectations drive your actions. When you feel the wish fulfilled, you aren't just hoping. You're running a mental rehearsal that your brain treats as a real experience. Real experiences change real behavior. Real behavior changes real results. Using this correctly without hurting yourself comes down to 5 specific steps. The practice, how to use it correctly. Step 1 is to stop trying to believe something will happen. Belief is a thought, and thoughts are conscious. You need a feeling. Step 2 is to pick one specific scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Picture the end, not the process. Say you want a new job. Don't imagine sending resumes. Imagine sitting at the desk on your first day, feeling the carpet under your feet. For better health, don't imagine running on a treadmill. Imagine your doctor smiling and telling you the numbers look great. Step 3 is to enter SATs.
That's the drowsy state right before sleep or right after waking, when the conscious critic is off duty and the subconscious is ready to record. Step 4 is to loop that scene mentally while feeling the emotional signature of the wish fulfilled. Feel relief, not excitement about the future. Feel security, not hope. Feel gratitude for the present, because in this scene, the wish is already done. Step 5 is to let it go. The seed is planted. Your only job now is to not dig it up with doubt 5 minutes later. But here's where most people quit too early. They run the scene once, feel good for 30 seconds, and then spend the rest of the day worrying. And here's the warning that most people skip. Don't use this to escape reality or avoid action. Goddard wasn't teaching escapism. He taught that your state of consciousness determines what actions you take and what results you see. The feeling isn't the result. The feeling is the cause that changes the behavior that creates the result. Change the feeling first, and the actions follow naturally. Change the actions, and the external world has no choice but to respond. Conclusion: your feelings aren't reactions to your world. They're the blueprint your subconscious builds from. If you want to understand the foundation we built on today, watch the breakdown of The Strangest Secret right here. Subscribe if you want more book summaries that connect old wisdom to modern science. Thanks for watching.